Hi everyone, I'm here with Ekim Kaya and my student of about 3 or 4 years, Shan, and we're going to talk about the concept of what happens when the idea of manifesting and law of attraction just doesn't work for us, and when basically shit hits the fan and rock bottom happens, which I know to be a very potent time of manifestation possibility, but when you're in it, you don't fully know that. So I invited my student Sean here because she just went through a surprising traumatic event in her financial life. Yeah, so I don't know if you want to just go right into her story or what your thoughts are on that, Akeem.
Just one small parenthesis. Mm, I don't think it ever fails. We just weren't using it at all, or we weren't using it properly. We weren't believing it in the outcome.
Mm.
So that is a small note. Let's listen to her story first, then I'm gonna share my comments.
All right. Yeah, Sean, what did you tell me the other day?
Okay. Hello, Kim. Hello, Jamie. Yes, I told Jamie we had a lesson last Wednesday, and I told her that on Monday night, Eastern Time, my dad called me and he said he's going to cut me off completely financially. And that is because my stepmom got in the way, saying that basically he's going to choose between either he's going to cut me off or she's going to divorce him. That's what I told Jamie. Yeah, basically.
Okay, that sounds pretty depressing, and I don't know what
Yeah.
you feel, but whatever you're going through right now, your feelings are pretty legitimate. But I have a theory. So I went bankrupt myself, and I had difficulties throughout my life. Whenever I was able to execute this belief, it always worked for me. And when you're going through a dip, like you're going through a financial struggle right now, it's the best time to exercise this. But before I go into details, I should tell you this is not about you reasoning, like using your prefrontal cortex and understanding how it works. Okay? Don't forget, please. This is all about beliefs. So we can talk about the theory all day, all night long, but this is our like brain, human brain, trying to make sense of things. It doesn't have to. You don't have to make sense. You just need to believe and try. Let me ask you a question. When you're asleep during the night, you don't do anything. You don't have to do anything to keep breathing and to have your heartbeat running, right? It happens automatically. What does that? Have you ever thought about it?
It's automatically, right. It's in us. We don't even have to think about it.
Right. The same way, you don't have to think about how you're gonna come out of this situation. Believe in this, please. That's the bottom line. So if you don't have to worry about having your heart beat during the night, you don't have to worry about how you're gonna come out of this, because it's the same principle, same system underlying this whole situation. It's the subconscious mind. It's our nervous system. It helps us survive. It helps us stay alive, basically. That's the only function of our limbic brain, the animal brain. Your human brain shuts down when you go to sleep, but the animal brain keeps working. Animal brain is much powerful than the human brain, because if you think about, now I'm trying to help you make sense of things, which I won't continue, because once we're at that point, you need to let go and just do what I say. Okay, please.
Yes.
The human brain has been evolving for the last couple of thousands of years, but we've been around for tens of thousands of years. I mean, as the whole species, millions of years. From an evolutionary standpoint, the things that helped us get here, starting from our ancestors, are based on how cautious we were in a very dangerous situation, like in a forest, in a cave. When you hear a sound, you have to either fight or run away, right? So just because we develop this environment as human beings, which is much safer in modern cities, the brain doesn't evolve to this new situation in a couple of thousand years. It needs millions of years to get there. So we're still driven by fear, which has helped us over the course of thousands of years. But right now, it's dragging us because even though there is no real danger, there's no threat. I mean, what's the worst? The worst situation has already happened to you. You don't know how you're gonna afford rent, right? But I'm pretty sure you won't go homeless. I'm sure you don't believe that you will get homeless either. Somehow you will go through this and survive. So, first, your only mission is to get out of the fearful mind status as much as you can. Stay away from fear. I know it's difficult, but there's like good news about your situation and my situation when I went bankrupt. It you see the results sooner when you need it the most. Like right now, things can't get worse, right? You're living in an expensive country and you have to make a lot of money to get out of the situation. That's why when the difference between your physical reality and where you want to get is the biggest, it helps the most. Let me help you understand this more. Right now, I live in LA. I have a family. I I don't feel fear regarding my financial situation. That's why moving on to the next level, I want to become a billionaire, okay? It sounds so much like a nice to have. It even sounds like I'm spoiled. That's why it's more difficult for me to exercise this compared to you because you have to somehow get back on track as soon as possible, right? That's why it's much more important for you. That's why your subconscious mind, when you start managing it, when you start imposing ideas and visualizations, it will receive it because it's so receptive right now, because its only function is your survival. That's why if you just give it a chance and do what we're going to discuss today, you're gonna start seeing first a couple of signs, a sign, something that says you're on the right track. Keep doing what you're doing. You will be surprised. You won't even associate it with what you've been doing to get there. It will feel so natural to you. You will say, "Oh, finally, yes, I found something that will help me generate more money, and I got out of this." You won't assume it's because of what you did to get there. That's the beautiful part. It becomes so natural. So I don't know if you want to step in, Jamie.
Well,
What your understanding of what she needs to be doing right now from your point of view, because it's always nice to hear, but with different wordings from different people,
mm,
I can step in at
yeah,
some point.
because when we had our coaching, I was like, okay, this is going to be potentially our last call, and I wanted to give her action steps before we had this conversation with you of, okay, what does she do? How is she going to pay for rent? Sean got into a college in London, so there's a big move coming up in less than a month. And so just all these things are piling up. And so in session, we did a visualization session we did the manifestation concept of scripting. So we scripted out the ideal circumstance that she was walking into when she got to London. And as she was recounting it, as where she's living, what she's doing, what's her perfect day, where is she doing her gigs, she was getting excited. And she goes, "It's so exciting." And I was so impressed with you, Sean, that you were able to get into that frequency even after we were just like commiserating about how shitty your situation was. So I gave I'm curious if you've done your homework, Sean, which was the AM/PM practice. So when your mind is in the most programmable state, and you can, as Ekim says, demand of your subconscious, where you can either do an embodiment visualization, or you can repeat affirmations, or you can demand and ask things. That was what her homework was. And I just want to say one more thing before we turn it over to you, Sean, is when we talked about signs, literally right after our call, Sean texted me that there was someone she ran into that told her about Abraham Hicks, Bashar, and The Secret. And she goes, "Do you know about these things?" I was like, "Of course I know about these things." And so someone that she had known this whole time was into all that, and they never had talked about it because it's kind of niche. And so I said, "Do you see already within 1 hour the sign of you lining up with a friend that knew everything I was talking about?" So that was like a baby sign, right?
Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
first step. It's a perfect example of what I said. I didn't know that you already had one sign, right? You decide, like you talk about this with Jamie, and Jamie happens to be talking about these with me for the last two weeks or so. We didn't know each other before. So these are like the pieces of the puzzle coming together for you, for Jamie, and for me. When you're open, when you're receptive to these things, it starts happening automatically. So this is the smallest sign that says go from here. It's like an arrow. Yes, this path is the one that you need to take. Multiple people coming into your life and talking about the same things, right? How better the sign can get. Uh, what do you think? What do you feel about this?
And yeah, and tell me what you've done since our call and what's been going on.
Yeah. Yeah. After our meeting on Wednesday, because I was actually meeting with a friend and I told her about the distressing situation that I'm at. And I somehow mentioned our manifestation. And then somehow we got into this, that it happens that she actually has done some practice. And then so we had a discussion about that. And then I started to do the practice, right, the morning and evening when I go to bed well, not before I wake up, I can't do that. After I wake up and before I go to bed, I would think about the sort of visioning, right, the next 2 months of a situation that I'm okay, and then also as well as after going to London. And I think I'm not at this point. I'm not very vexed. I'm not very that worried.
Mm.
I do feel a sense of secure. I feel secure.
Wow.
Yeah, and I actually talked to. Well, I didn't talk to my dad, but I texted him. Because I think the thing is, I don't know if it's connected or if it's right. It's also I was thinking is I think my head is getting clearer, and I know my way out of this. If that makes sense.
Like
Hmm.
knowing, like an internal knowing, or like a logical knowing, like with steps.
Both.
Wow,
Okay.
that didn't take long.
Your assumptions might be wrong, by the way.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
nice, it's good to hear that you feel better already. But what you shouldn't forget is that your subconscious mind takes orders from you. So at first, until we get into a more stable financial situation, we're going to manipulate our subconscious mind to feeling that we're already there, because subconscious mind can't process a conflict. So whatever you make your subconscious mind believe, it has to get there. Even if there's a difference right now, it's gonna rush to get you there. I always give the horror movie example because it's perfect. When you go to a scary movie, your human mind knows that it's fiction and you're going to be safe there and no one's getting killed. But still, when you see like a certain scene which is scary, you feel irritated. You jump maybe out of your seat if it's a really good scene. How there's a discrepancy between how your subconscious mind feels, like the nervous system reacts to what you see on the screen, and the human brain who knows? There's nothing wrong here. I willfully came here, paid for my ticket, and wanted to get scared, right?
Mm.
So that's the difference between your current financial situation, physical reality, and what you actually believe in. If you believe in you deserve this, then you're going to stay there. If you believe that this is just a small hardship that you're going to get over real soon, it's going to happen at some point, and you don't have to know how it's going to happen. That's the good part. So it sounds so stupid when I talk about becoming a billionaire, because there's no concrete way of me getting there. Let's say there are 5,000 steps I need to take to become a billionaire, because it's a pretty ambitious goal, right? We're talking about billions of dollars, not millions. But I'm so comfortable because it worked for me at a smaller scale before, and I was just a person who executes what is so apparent in front of me. Something said, go to this training, take notes, work on these notes, and like build build a following, build a landing page, make a video. So those things were so obvious to me just because I believed in becoming a millionaire before. That might sound counterintuitive, but that's why I started with saying you have to believe. You don't have to make sense of things, because you won't. If you could, then you wouldn't need this subconscious mind like driving you. You There are pretty different functions of the human brain and the animal brain, and the animal brain is the one that got us here over the course of millions of years. So I think it's safe to trust what we have as a connection with the universal mind. If it's unrealistic for you to have your heartbeat or not forget to breathe every second, you can let yourself be and trust that power that you already have, because you're running millions of systems. Your billions of cells are interacting every second, and you have no idea what's going on inside of your body, because you don't have to. The same way, you don't have to think about how you will get there, as long as you believe in it. You believe that you believe that you can survive by breathing automatically, because it's been happening for many years. The same way, you should believe in the end result. That what Jamie asked you is the right question. What is your perfect day? It doesn't even have to be perfect. What is like ordinary to you? Paying for rent easily is ordinary to you, right? Not
Yeah.
worrying about where your next meal will come from is ordinary for you. For some people, spending millions of dollars every day is ordinary. How does it work? Are they aliens? No, they have the same body, same functions as we do, but their beliefs are wired differently, because either they they were made to believe that they can do anything. I always give the Elon Musk example. This guy believes he can do anything, and he can. So if you took everything away from Elon Musk, do you believe he would be worried that he would become homeless at one point? He doesn't have anything to his name. Let's say you took over his companies, you emptied his bank account. Do you think Elon Musk would feel fear? No. Why? Because he's wired differently. So I always take him as an example. When I feel bad about something, when I feel worried, I switch to Elon Musk mode.
Mm.
Makes sense?
And when it comes to the doubts, which us mere mortals do have, I was doing kind of a hypnosis meditation. I could feel myself falling asleep on the couch, and I was like, oh, perfect timing. So I put on some money affirmations. It was like a 20-minute loop of money affirmations, like the money's always coming in, I'm overflowing with money, I'm safe, and it was just ringing in my ear. And I was like, oh, this is so nice. And I could feel myself going to that hypnagogic theta state, which is our most like fertile soil for reprogramming. And I could feel like all of a sudden this like bubbling fear came up, and I wasn't even that conscious because I was in this state. But all of a sudden, like my body, I think because maybe it was safe, it was this fear was coming up, and the screenshot of what was in my bank account like came into my mind, which isn't, I'm not poor, I'm doing fine, but it was like so much less than the affirmations that were coming in my brain, like, and I felt this discrepancy between what is and what I not desperately want, but what I really want, right? And it all of a sudden felt like it was I felt so disappointed. And it woke me out of this little magical place. And I was like, oh no, what happened to my magic? So I'm just curious on what you have to say to that, and if has that happened to you?
Sean, do you know how to swim?
Yes.
Do you remember when you were learning how to swim?
Yes.
So, who taught you?
I was actually in this group lesson, like a bunch of kids learning how to swim.
Okay, there's an adult in the scene who tells you that you'll be safe if you do this. You're gonna be able to float, and then you're gonna start moving on the water, right?
Yeah.
But mentally knowing that doesn't help.
No.
As Jamie said, someone is telling you that you should believe in this and everything will be fine, but it's all about internalizing it in your nervous system, because that's the most powerful thing that drives you, your fears or your motivations or your excitement, whatever. So unless you go into the water and actually really let yourself go, anything that you do will make it more difficult to float on water.
Yeah.
That's why at some point you believe in that adult who knows how to swim when they say, just it will lift you up. The water has been lifting ships up for many years, so you're not exempt from this power. And all you need to do is leave yourself comfortably laying on water. Then if you like do certain movements, you're gonna swim. I think this is also a perfect example. The difference between our physical reality and where we want to be will actually always be there, because you can't kill the animal brain. You still need it. And its function is, whenever you feel comfortable, it's going to test you. Here's a fear. Here's a small amount of fear. Are you able to handle that? If not, you failed. You stay where you are. But if you pass, in my experience, you get a reward. And the more difficult the test is, the bigger the reward is. Then you will get a bigger test, though. Like me going bankrupt. I became a millionaire, but then I lost everything, which is like, when you look back, over like the things happening, which was a blessing, because I got rid of all the unnecessary costs associated with having a big team. All this overhead doesn't make sense anymore, especially after COVID, because you can, like, with the tools that we have right now with AI, you don't need big teams. You can have systems in place that take over those things. So even though I went bankrupt, it worked for me before. So I know I'm just like watching a movie where I'm starring, where I'm the main actor, but not worrying about how the movie will end. Because I'm like the producer of this movie, and I know that it's going to end as the star actor becoming a billionaire. Okay? So Tom Cruise goes through many things in Mission Impossible. The same thing. We know that they won't let him die, right? I don't know. I did not feel it at all. I know this is rare. It doesn't apply to everyone. I struggled when I was getting back on track, because, again, fear makes you do things that you're not supposed to be doing. I took on stupid jobs. I started an event rental company, which was very physical, very demanding. I was basically selling my hours, so it's not, there's no way it can scale, right? Even if you hire people, then you have to deal with other people, which makes it a different other difficulty. So I remember thinking, I'm not making enough money to get out of this. Then I felt depressed for a while. Then what I did is another story, which should be another episode. The ebook that I sent you. I won't go into that. It's going to be more than Sean can consume right now. Maybe we can do a private session with Sean. As yeah, because I showed you the proof. I wrote down that I'll be making at least $30,000 per month, and if I don't, it's gonna feel as bad as death. Okay, this is new now. This is too much, I know. So if you associate death, survival being the most powerful instinct, associate death with not being able to do what you want to do, then you program your subconscious mind to get away from this. If you were successful associating these two things, because they're irrelevant, right? Then you manipulated your subconscious mind, and the next month I made $30,000, and I never made less than $30,000 ever since. So yeah, making more than 30K per month every month. This is after bankruptcy. Mm, yeah. Okay. I mean, this is not personal. It might sound cheesy. The fact that I'm mentioning amounts, it should be irrelevant, because why 30,000? Why I could be comfortable with maybe 15K also, but we have a new baby, so it's everything is personal. It's up to you. What I'm trying to say is anything is possible as long as you think it's possible. If you we The same thing also, if we could believe that we could make $1 million over the next 30 days, we could do it. Just let's start smaller. That's why I say there are levels to it. When you see the signs, when you appreciate them, which is more important than seeing them, because if you appreciate, if you acknowledge, then you can move on and get the next sign if you keep continuing. It's like dieting too, right? Just because you lost a couple of pounds, if you like go back to your old eating habits, you won't continue losing weight. When you get a small reward, when you see small results, it gives you the motivation, the energy to keep going. That's what we're trying to do. And as we do that, we're actually manipulating the filter that decides what will be left out in terms of our beliefs and what will be let in. It's called the reticular activating system. Kids of rich people believe in wealth because they were born into it. They don't know anything about poverty, so they don't feel the sense of lack. They're wired differently. If we weren't born into a rich family, then all we need to do is manipulate our mind into believing that we are, then we will change our physical reality. And once you are able to do that, then it becomes much easier, because even though I went bankrupt, I knew for a fact, not knowing how yet, but I would get there somehow, because it worked. It always works. also having those kind of people around you is so important. Now, you know the details, Jamie. I won't disclose it yet, but I'll be dealing with wealthy people for the most part for this new business idea. And it creates a huge difference. There's also a friend of mine who is dragging me because he's in a financial hardship right now. And he I understand him. I of course explain all this to him, but he's not accepting. He's denying everything I say. But you can't act against their will. They will experience whatever they have to. But he's trying to, I won't be specific, he's trying to get me to his level. The things that he says doesn't make sense at all in terms of how you spend your time. I believe in scaling, so that's how you get rich. You have to use other people's energy, time, effort. You have to have tools and systems in place. Otherwise, like if the most hardworking person would be the richest, workers would be rich. You don't want to sell your seconds. Yeah, if you can find those people around you, it will rub off. That's how it works.
Yeah, that'd be great. I was wondering if I could ask a few questions. Yeah.
Sure, please go ahead.
So I know that we basically just tune ourselves into a state that we have surpassed, or that problem is solved already, and that we will be in that frequency. But then I'm just wondering, then we have the signals. We start to have signals. I was wondering, but it doesn't mean that we don't do anything in reality at all.
It doesn't
We
mean
still
that.
have to, we still have to be like looking for ways or means, and with the signal. But is it do we only, is it that we do things or make decisions by, because with the signals that is given to us, or is it more okay, I'm just going to be realistic and looking for ways? I think
Yeah, good
that's.
question. So how it works is that your only job right now is to feel comfortable, feel wealthy, feel safe. If you do this long enough, I don't know how long, maybe a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, whatever is going on in your physical reality, if you keep this alive, then you will meet with people, you will have ideas, you will bump into things. I don't know what they are because it happens to me every week as long as I stay there. Okay, what we're trying to do here is give this job to our subconscious mind that is much more powerful than our human brain, because human brain is like struggling. What should I do? Should I get this job? Should I go to a gig? Should I try to make income like in different ways? And those are usually because they're initiated by fearful ideas, they won't be the best ones to make money. But if you, and that also means that you're not believing into your subconscious mind. That also believes, that also shows that you feel lack, which is the exact opposite of the mindset that we're trying to upgrade us into. It's like black and white. Again, the swimming example. You're trying to float. If you keep moving your hands and feet involuntarily, you drag yourself down. So let yourself stay there, lay there for a while comfortably, believing in the fact that the water will lift you up, which it always does. Then you will see that you can swim. The signals are like a small rewards for you to keep doing it, because I know there's a fire going on, and your first reaction, your instinct is to put it out. But if you don't have the tools, how are you going to do it? Will you just use a glass of water? Your brain knows that it won't put it out, but that's the only thing that you can do. But the subconscious mind is like a fully equipped fire department, which can put it out in seconds. Okay?
Mm.
So trying hard is the opposite of what you should be doing. And
Mm.
probably if when we talk again next week, next month, whatever, if you keep doing this, you will have like news to share with us that proves that this is working. So I'm trying
Yeah.
to like give you multiple examples. So I know that the fire is there. You are free to observe it, but the solution that your human brain will try to come up with most probably won't work because it's not enough. It's not you. It applies to everyone. There's a bigger power that needs to believe that this fire needs to be put out. Your job is to make the fire department believe that a fire is going on, and believe that they will do their jobs perfectly. They're professionals. They've been trained to do that. They've been doing it for so long. They're more powerful. They're more resourceful than you. So they will come. When you're doing something, I think everyone knows if that action is coming out of fear or not.
Yeah.
So if the answer is yes, I'm doing this out of fear, then stop it. It's better not to do that at all.
Mm.
Every time you do something, you're telling your subconscious mind what kind of person you are. Okay? In the waiting example, I'm the kind of person who needs to wait tables to survive. Okay, then the subconscious mind acts accordingly, adjusts to that reality, and even if there is an opportunity, let's say there is a customer in the restaurant, they could hire you for something else, but you're intimidated or you don't see the value or you don't even listen to him and miss the opportunity just because you rewired your subconscious mind into believing that you are in survival mode. So this is hard to accept, I know, but it applies perfectly to my situation with my friend who's trying to drag me back. If I were, simple example, okay, he said they are selling cheap TVs over there, $100 each. Let's buy them and list them on Amazon and make $50. Okay. Okay, that's an opportunity, but that's not big enough for me to get into. Okay. If I'm making more, not doing that, then why give the wrong signal to my subconscious mind? There are smaller opportunities too. Should I chase them as well? I mean, I can work at McDonald's. It doesn't mean that you have to. So everything you do is a message to your subconscious mind. That's why be careful about what you're telling yourself, what kind of
Mm.
person you are. There is a lag between your physical reality and your beliefs. That's normal. It won't happen overnight, that's for sure. But also, you won't become homeless. So you have some kind of safety net. I don't know. You could stay at Jamie's for a couple of nights if you were to stay homeless. You won't believe in your like welfare without having to pursue those small things, and you will get there.
I think I'm just gonna say a little bit. I think my feelings on this is, and also as well as just even before I know manifestation, I think it's because for myself, I'm motivated by fears, like for a long time, and I'm realizing that it's I have these fears, and it's actually so my life could be in a very chaotic or just very emergency sort of situation a lot of times. And I realized it's I put myself into that test to gain my self confidence, if that makes sense, to gain the trust in myself.
Mm.
And yeah. Subconsciously, I put myself in those situations because it's like my way of gaining my trusting myself, self trust.
Hmm.
And I don't know if in that case is fear doing me good or if I if it's helping me or if it's not good.
So there are different ways of taking a test. You're digging a hole on the ground. You can use a spoon or a shovel, or an excavator, right?
Yeah.
Uh, if the test is testing your ability to dig it with a spoon, yes, you can do that. But if there's an excavator, isn't it better to use it? The life can be easy. It is easy for many people. You can't imagine how easy lives people are living compared to most people, because most people don't believe that they can, and
Mm.
they will never believe. You were ready to hear the message, and you found us. Now you're on this show. Most people, let's say, if there are 1,000 people who bumped into this video, 99% will leave in the first 10 seconds because it doesn't say anything to them.
Mm.
So it's up to us to stay within the 1% or the 99%. Let me tell you the level of application in my life, how it applies to me. So I have a Turkish audience, okay? I sell them a digital course on how to make money online. And I have 1,600 monthly subscribers, paying clients. And if you don't show your face regularly, people don't trust you. You have to repeat yourself, the message, over and over every day, so that at some point, some people will convert to paying customers. Back to back for 2 days, I didn't want to do anything. I didn't want to share a message. I didn't want to post a link to purchase the course. And the animal brain, out of fear, says, you should post something. Your income will go down. People are not buying. The sales slow down. If I listen to him and post something against my purpose, against my, let's say, feelings about other business, my excitement, because a new business takes time to pick up, right? You will lose money until things like get on track. But I don't accept what my animal brain says, and I override it. This is fear talking to me right now. And I won't listen to him because I don't need to. That reduce my income? For sure it will, because people are expecting me to talk to them every day. But I'm trying to fry a bigger fish, because the potential outcome of not like accepting my fearful voice is much bigger. I decide where I want to be, because the income from my current audience, because they're making Turkish lira, they can only afford $20-$30, and that won't get me there, no matter how many people I sell to. If I turn my face into English speaking audience, billions of people, then things will change for me. That's why I refuse to listen to that voice. It's so important. Again, even though in short term it will reduce my income, that's the most important part. It's not like just because I stayed within the zone, it won't change things in my physical reality. But
Mm.
the outcome of this over the middle or long term is making much more money, because I believed in that kind of new reality.
It seems like Ekim, you're really good at differentiate what action comes from fear and what is like divine inspiration. I was wondering if I could ask, how could we differentiate when we have an idea and you like,
Oh,
okay, yeah.
oh, good question again. I think women are much luckier when it comes to intuition, so it's easier for you guys to answer if this comes from fear or not. Regarding the practical question that you just asked, how do I know? It is so obvious that you don't question that. You just do it. You don't even think about the outcome. Maybe that's the sign. You just want to do it no matter what, and then it brings you success. You don't know for a fact, you don't know for sure that you will get success, but you do it anyway, because your subconscious mind believed into something and it made you do something. In that case, that's the formula to know. If you're not questioning the outcome, then it is the right thing to do.
Not questioning, sorry, not questioning means you don't care, or if it doesn't, like, you don't care if it affects you or not. You do it because you want to do it. Is
Just
that
like the waiting
right?
tables example. Why would you do that? To make a couple of bucks, right? So that's one extreme example. But yeah, you don't care. You don't care. And if it doesn't lead to what the next step, then it's not the right thing. But we didn't lose anything. Again, this is getting way more complicated. The only question you should be asking is, am I doing this out of fear? If I had millions in my bank account, would I feel like I have to do this?
Mm,
Also, the fearful voice is temporary because it's always finding the next risk, the next like escape, as
yep.
she thinks that that's the escape, which is not. You can have the fearful voice say a different thing every day. So that's why sleeping over a thought works. Most probably you won't be feeling the same way next day.
Mm.
No, let's give it one more day, and if let's see if I'm gonna feel the same way tomorrow.
Oh, give it time. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. This is enlightening.
Feel that.
Yeah. Yes, yes, please.
Expecting the positive outcome is so powerful. Now, what I'm expecting from you is that when we jump into another call, you're gonna share the signs and the positive outcome. So just the fact that you will be looking for them, you are already rewired differently. You're not looking from a point of fear, you're looking from a point of hope and abundance because we already gave you the reasons, the input that you needed to take the next step, and then now you're hopeful about how it will work for you, how it will benefit you, right?
Mm,
That's a
yeah,
huge difference.
yeah. It's already wired differently.
It happens without you knowing it. That's why it's called subconscious, right?
Wow.
Your human brain doesn't have to stay at that level at all times. It's not realistic. You will feel down because we're talking about these things all nice and fun, but it's next week the landlord will expect the payment, right? And if you're not
Yeah,
there, the fear will start shouting, what happened to this Ekim guy said everything will be fine for me, now I have to pay rent, where is the money? Okay, this is normal. You have to ignore the voice and ignore the landlord for a while if you have to, but still believe in the outcome.
I'm gonna manifest that. Yes.
We'll talk soon with
Thank you so much.
and after a real life situation, real people will watch this one and the next one where you will be smiling and sharing news with us. Imagine how many people you will inspire.
No.
So I have all these Stripe payment notifications on my phone. I made $250 during this call, just as proof it is possible. One more, $30 failed, but they will try again, so it's going to be 280 in 5 minutes.
Wow.
Some payments don't go through. Okay, we'll work on that. Thank you guys. It was so much fun.
Thank you so much. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Ekim. Thank you,
Have
Jamie. See you
a-
soon.
Bye.
Bye bye.